The movie that made everybody hate Pixar for winning Best Animated Picture that year. Remember that? Remember how awful that was? So we're looking at Brave, and this movie is infamous for winning Best Animated Picture the year it came out. And I think when that happened, everybody hated it because the first time people saw it, it was like, okay, it's fine, it's better than Cars 2, but it's not that great. The second and one Best Animated Feature, it was hated by the world. Everybody hates Brave because of it, and I think that was probably the stupidest decision that the Oscars could have done at that point. I mean, look at the year we had for 2012 animated features. We had Paranorman, we had Frankenweenie. Hell, Disney gave us Wreck-It Ralph, the comeback for Walt Disney animated features. Granted, we had Tangled and The Princess at the Frog up to this point, but this was like peak Disney like comeback. I mean, that was produced by John Lasseter, the producer of Pixar. We kind of talked about it in the last video where John Lasseter slowly left Pixar for a little bit in exchange for him to help Walt Disney Pictures. And in the process, we get these damn, I don't know how to even describe these type of movies. I'll be honest, I don't fully hate this movie, but I get the hate because the trailers sold us as this like legacy movie where this girl is trying to prove to her family that she is a brave princess, where she it wants to be a warrior, she wants to be a fighter. It kind of gave us Mulan vibes, but this time in Ireland. And it was like, okay, we're learning about a different culture. Maybe we were gonna see some brand new cool stuff, and we could have done something cool with this. It had a strong concept, but here we're talking about Merida, this girl who wants to stand out as her own, and instead of being a warrior, she just wants this that her mom to like basically change and understand her more, make her leave. And then she meets up with this witch who uh, a lot of people assume it's Boo from Monsters Inc. And that theory has lived on for years. And I'm one of those people that was like, I'm kind of curious what would happen if the witch just so happens to be Boo. Anyways, Merida gets this potion and she turns her mom into a bear. And we just follow this journey of Merida and her mom, who's a bear. And after an amount of time, they can keep her as a bear, but they have to find like this journey to help her not be a bear for the rest of her life. And in the process, the family, like King Fergus and all of those characters, think that the bear killed the queen, aka his wife, and it's not what we wanted. It's a fine movie when it's trying to be like a mother-daughter type of relationship, but we've seen that before, and I think that was when people started realizing that we ran out of ideas for movies. Now, recently I did a short for a movie called Goat that just came out, and my big complaint is that it starts off as a generic story that we have seen countless times, but what that movie had that this movie didn't have is good characters, good writing, funny humor, and more importantly, an audience. It clearly knew its audience and it carried you through it. Here in Brave, I don't even know which audience it was going for. Was it going for really little kids? Was it going for females because it's a princess movie? Was it going towards just generic Disney fan? Who was this going for? It does have a couple of laughs. I think the triplets were funny. Um, Sometimes they were a little too much, but they were whatever. I love the scene where Merida's interesting in this guy who she thinks she's gonna marry, but instead the option's this scrawny dork. That part was really funny. It has some humorous parts, but at the end of the day, it was just how will Queen Eleanor become herself again? And then they just put this um, what's it called, a blanket over her, which is a little bit ridiculous. Um, then they try to force this other bear as the bad guy because of his rich history and stuff, and it just wasn't working for me. And I felt like it was just a letdown. It isn't an awful movie like Cars 2. I think Cars 2 is far worse. And this is still not my least favorite Pixar movie. We'll get to that movie when we get to that movie. But I am gonna have to give this movie a C minus. It does have some redeeming qualities. It does kind of get the kids excited to see. Merida could have been a really cool character. I think her arc is nice for the first half of the movie, and then it just gets boggled down. And yeah, this was not a movie that I like to go back and watch in the Pixar category. And yeah, I don't think this one, a lot of people are really gonna miss it if it ever disappeared. But yeah, best animated picture that year. Come on, give me a break. Anyways, um, I'm moving on to Monsters University. That's definitely like the best out of the three that we have covered so far. Just looking forward to moving on to the fantastic time of Pixar. That will be very soon. But anyways, I'll see you next week for Monsters University.